Hi, it's Amy. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. I just love this space. I feel like I'm just sitting down and talking with a friend about the topics that are the most exciting and fun for me. You probably know by now I really like crystals. I got these smoky quartz earrings from a company called Jax Kelly. I didn't know at the time, but they're really good for migraines. That crystal smoky quartz is good for migraines. I love that I didn't know that before I ordered them, and they're great for protection also. I don't know if you can see. They're just really simple, and it's those small little things, like when I put a pair of earrings like this on and then I have to go out into the world for the day. It's like the same feeling as an affirmation. It just kind of helps keep me grounded and remind me of what my intentions are, especially when I start getting distracted or influenced by the world around me. There's no promotion or anything. I'm just letting you know because I love them. But the thing that kept coming up in the last 2 days that I feel like I want to talk with you about is the idea of trusting ourselves. Wow. I think that so often we don't trust ourselves and don't necessarily realize it until we start to pay attention to it. I started recognizing where I did and didn't trust myself, especially I'd say in the last 10 years. When you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, and you say you're going to, knowing you probably are not going to actually follow through on it, and then you kind of beat yourself up about it and you have a lot of shame or guilt. It's like this cycle. For me, I'd be super influenced by the people around me and what somebody else might be doing. For example, I'd get invited to go and do something when knowing I really need to take it easy today. But I'd say yes anyway, and that could have also just been from FOMO. But I would do the thing and then feel worse after because it was so draining to me. And even though I had a good time, it was just so draining to me. That's one of those moments that had I listened to myself, I would have been able to trust that part of me that said, you need to sit this one out. And even in the moments when, let's say, you are just feeling way too cozy being home, you don't really want to be around people, and you get an invite, you say no when that little part of you is saying yes. You are left after the fact with a feeling of kind of maybe a regret or kicking yourself. It can be subtle and simple. When I was able to start recognizing this, it changed my relationship for me with myself so much. It's been so impactful. It has helped me to follow through on so much more and also know how to set boundaries and healthy boundaries, and being able to say, no, I don't want to do that, or that's not going to be great for me. That isn't going to serve me. So I'm going to say yes or say no to this. But we don't know how to do that until we start learning how to trust ourselves. When you really get into a place where you're doing it and you don't have to think as much about it, and it feels like I got this kind of thing, your life feels so much better. It lessened so much of my anxiety and even depression because I wasn't having so much social anxiety by saying yes to things I didn't actually want to do, or saying yes to too many things when I really don't have the same capacity as other people to be social, for example. And some of that anxiety also for me came from just really beating myself up and wondering why I would feel so off when it came down to simple things like this. You can also say people pleasing can affect this, and so many people have a hard time with that. We have a hard time saying no to somebody else. We want to just say yes, we want to please, and we are very uncomfortable at times saying yes or no to things because of the idea of how it will come across to somebody else or what they might think. And one of the things I've learned that's so important is that it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you're saying it. And yes, at the beginning, especially people close to you might not always love your yeses and nos, especially if they're used to you responding a certain way that they preferred, but that's okay. We teach people how to treat us. As we start to apply more of those boundaries through trusting ourselves and what we each need, there can be growing pains, both individually and with the people around us, But ultimately, you get through those kinks and then people do respect it. And perhaps there will be some people who kind of fall away, but that's okay. That means the way you're elevating your energy no longer matches other people's, and that's okay. I know that part of the reason I even bring this up is because trusting yourself is connected to connecting more to your higher self as well. That part of you that you learn to trust, learning how it's showing up for you, how it feels in your body. Mine shows up in my gut and in my chest. I know what a yes or no is for me because I can feel it, and it shows up in many other ways too. But that part of me is also connected to my higher self. And so the more you tune into trusting yourself, ultimately just you, trusting yourself, not looking outside of you for answers, not looking to other people, places, things for confirmation of what your actual needs, desires, beliefs, answers are. This is how you really start to trust yourself more. And as you start strengthening that and relying less on the things outside of you, the deeper and deeper you're able to go when it comes to trusting yourself, and then trusting and starting to experience connecting more to your intuition as well. Because that is what's rooted at the deepest part of yourself, is your intuition, your soul, your higher self. As I started to simply trust myself, I started to feel so much more confident, so much more balanced, so much more sure of who I am. It can be as simple starting out as, do you want to have a hot or iced coffee today? Do you want coffee or tea? The decision you're making for what you want to have for breakfast. Or maybe you shouldn't watch another episode of a show. Maybe you shouldn't watch a show at all. Maybe, what kind of workout do you want to do today? It can be in these really simple things. And this is how you start to trust yourself. It's like, how do you trust other people? You trust them through consistency, through them following through on their word, through them showing up when they say they're going to show up, through them communicating if they have to change something or cancel something. Are you doing that with yourself? You have to do that first with yourself. And if you don't feel you're doing it with yourself, there's a very good chance that the people around you don't feel you're doing it with them very much either. Because we only connect as much to the people around us as we do to ourselves. And another thing I love to think about is that how we do one thing is how we do everything. How you're showing up for yourself is very similar to how you're showing up for the people around you. And maybe not everybody, but overall, the general people around you, especially the people you're comfortable with, is probably very similar to how you're showing up for yourself. And I know that we're very similar in the fact that personal growth and connecting more to our intuition is really important. I share this because this was such a huge part of me being able to connect more and more to those things in my own life, to those parts of me. One thing that I hear from people in my life quite a bit is how trustworthy I am, how dependable I am, how if I say I'm going to do something, I'm absolutely going to do it, and they know that. That's taken time. I feel that's a huge compliment now, but I was not always hearing that, and I am so grateful that I've taken the time for my behavior to reflect that. We're all capable of it. There aren't people who are more or less worthy of follow through and being dependable. It's about learning and unlearning. I encourage you, if this is something you've been thinking about, to just start paying attention to what it feels like in your body to get an answer. And then also the moments when you are responding to that or when you're ignoring that, and then the outcome of a situation. I've been working on this as well in my own life, especially in areas that feel a little more vulnerable, a little bit harder to maybe just totally trust my instincts on something and not my logical mind as much. So think of me when you're going through these moments, and I will think of you, and we will work on this together and increase this trust in ourselves and our intuition and our higher selves, because that is ultimately what is going to lead us to the best outcomes for everything. I hope you'll consider giving me a thumbs up, subscribing to my channel, and coming back and visiting next time. I am just really glad that you're here with me, so thank you. I will talk to you next time. Bye.